Hi, this is Marty Dare with Human Services 110, San Diego City College. Thank you for being here. This is a little 2-minute mini lecture to back up some of the information on the syllabus and instructions and so forth. If you have any questions and comments, best way to get a hold of me is through the email on the class site. I'll check in for that frequently, although may not respond immediately regardless. I'm not on, of course, 24 hours a day, but do check in and will respond. The chats, as you've seen, we've had one so far already, are for a requirement of 6 throughout the entire semester. They're mostly text-based, so we may have some audio to listen to, but there's no talking back and forth. The technology in that is not really stable, and for the most part works better as just a typing text chat for the dialogue. And so that should be fun. That's all on www.cccconfer.org. The link is on there, and the password, you just need one password for each different chat, and that's on the calendar. You always find, if you click on the date on the calendar, it shows you the detail for what's happening for that date. In the chats, we will take questions and comments, and we'll also go over and talk more in depth about some of the things on the topics from week to week and the assignments, and also tie that to the textbook a little bit. The quizzes and tests, you'll see, don't miss those. The rest of the topics, we pace it approximately every 2 weeks, and there's a due date for the writing assignment for a topic. But if you're a day late for that's fine. The due dates are mostly just to help you pace yourself. This is still a self-paced class, but if, for example, you turn in 5 topics in May, you're going to lose points. If you're just a day late from a due date, you're probably not going to lose much, if at all, and just be graded specifically on the content of what you write. Keep an eye on the word count. There's a suggested length. You're not graded on length, but if just a sentence or two for 400-word assignments, probably not going to cut it. All right, so intro to social work, fields of service. The fields of service part of social work talks about specialties within the field, but we're going to keep our eye on generalist practice, meaning that most of the education you get in social work, the skills and knowledge you learn apply to all of the settings. So theoretically, you would be able to go from one field to the next and still be able to use your core knowledge to be able to practice social work. And so we'll look at that. And although most of you that we've chatted so far, and typically in the field, most people go into social work to do direct practice. In other words, work one-on-one with individuals, groups, families, regardless of the field. But even as opposed to administrative or program work, but even in direct practice, we still very much keep our eye and are interested on background information. In other words, even if you're sitting there with somebody, if you don't know where they come from or where they're at, it's really hard to help them get wherever it is that they're going. So with that in mind, the first couple topics, you're going to see a lot of big picture background stuff. And not only just recent background, but we'll go way back in terms of where do families come from, and how do societies, not only to figure out the differences, the diversity that we have, but also what are the similarities that you're going to find across the board. And they're there. The similarities, the basic humanity doesn't really change, and we'll take a little bit of a look at that as we go through this semester, and also look within, because we have to kind of look at ourselves, because if we're sitting there working with the person across the table, we got to know where we're at before we can really decide how we're best going to be able to help the other person. So there you have it. As I say, best way to communicate. Any questions or comments, please send an email. Jump on the chats. If when you get there, it's pretty easy. It's like being in a classroom. You're not quite sure what's going on. You just sit and take it in, absorb it, and you kind of get the flow and the feel. Some of the chats, depending on how many people show up for any particular chat, will be more discussion where it's just free flowing. Others, especially if we have a larger group on a particular night, will turn off the free flowing. It'll be more lecture, and you raise a hand for questions or comments. So whichever your preference of the two, we'll have a variety both, and guest speakers on the chats as well. So have a great start to the semester, and we'll be talking soon. Check in, and as I say, send an email if you have any questions or comments. Thanks a lot.